I had 1 beer.
What?
I had 2 beers.
What?
I had 3 beers.
What?
I had 4.
What?
I had 5.
What?
I had a shot of Jack.
What?
I had a margarita.
What?
And a Bloody Mary.
What?
Man, this is the 3D Wrestling Podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a fucking podcast, yeah. Man, as you can see, I'm dressed in my finest Stone Cold outfit.
And I don't have any Stone Cold merch, so this is the closest I got to a Stone Cold outfit. Got the jorts on.
Hell yeah.
316.
Austin 316 says I just whooped your ass. As you can see, we're excited for 316 Day coming up.
Very excited.
Could I have me a margarita?
What?
Maybe a cold beer?
How many beers?
Maybe 1?
What?
Maybe 2?
What?
Maybe 3?
Oh, hell yeah.
Man, starting off with 316. Yo,
As you can see, we have a lot of fun doing that, boys.
Yo, it's your boy DJ.
It's your boy Darren.
Yo, this is the 3D Wrestling Podcast. We're excited for 316 Day coming up. So, I mean, with that even being said, and we're here, right? We're on the podcast. We're talking.
On the 3D Wrestling Podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
Austin 316 says, follow 3D Wrestling Podcast on Instagram.
What?
TikTok.
What?
YouTube.
What?
Mediafire.
What?
Google.
What?
Facebook.
What?
Twitter.
What?
X.
What?
Tumblr.
What?
MySpace.
What?
WWF.com.
And a margarita. Oh, hell yeah. Listen, what's your favorite, man? What's your favorite? There's so many moments to fucking choose from. But what is your favorite Stone Cold moment?
My favorite Stone Cold moment. That's so hard to pick because there's just so many. Mine probably has to be like the first one that I just remember from being a kid. It's him blowing up the DS Express. He had Austin, not construction, deconstruction.
That's what it was.
And he blew up the Generation X and the McMahon Helmsley regime's bus in like 2000, leading into Backlash.
Yeah.
That was his return. That was the first time I think we saw him since he got ran over at Survivor Series the year before.
Oh, man.
So it was a big moment. One of the biggest like moments for Stone Cold in the year 2000. What about you?
Man, I mean, it's just one that makes me laugh like constantly every time I see it is going into Invasion where Vince is giving the motivational speech and it's Jericho, Kane, Undertaker, and Kurt Angle and Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
And every time Vince says something, Stone Cold repeats it.
I'm gonna spice it in because I know exactly what you're talking about.
It gets me every time. So with that being said, united we stand.
Divided we fall.
Oh, hell yeah.
Breathing down our necks.
Count me in.
Government.
Bro, that is my favorite Stone Cold moment. I know there's so many, but that is definitely top tier for me. I think that's number
I
one.
hate that it did such terrible business because heel Stone Cold was so good.
Two-man power trip?
I love the two-man power trip.
God.
It's funny. I kind of see right now what's going on with Roman Reigns and The Rock as kind of like a modern day two-man power trip.
Talk about it until The Rock turns on Roman.
Yeah.
And he finishes his story. You know, I'll never let an episode go by without talking about Cody Rhodes.
You can.
Nah, he's just doing, as they would say, big business right now.
Nice segue.
Thank you, man.
I like that.
AEW had a fun show, I would say, called Big Business, with the debut of one Mercedes Moné.
Are you saying it's boss time?
Oh, it is most definitely boss time. Or, I mean, she's not even the boss anymore. She's a CEO.
It's CE o'clock.
Oh my God, he's on it. He's on it. You know what that deserves?
More fire.
More fire, more flame! More fire, more flame! Woo! That's not her dad. But for Shizzle, my Nizzle is her cousin.
Yes.
But let me ask you, man, are you excited for her? Her debut. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for what AEW can possibly do with her?
I'm interested, I'll say.
Okay.
I am reserving judgment. I can't say I'm the most optimistic that I think this is going to do big business for AEW. Mm-hmm. We saw that apparently Dave Meltzer reported that at the end of the show, they did about average Dynamite numbers in like the 800K region. Her debut did get big numbers though, so people were excited to see her. I presume they just didn't really think she would stick around to the end of the show, so they didn't want to stick around either. But she's easily the biggest star on the women's roster now. And this is a whole new crop of talent for her to face. I'm pretty sure everybody, or mostly everybody on this roster is going to be new for her, whether it's Timeless Toni Storm, Mariah May, Britt Baker when she comes back. She does have a history of facing Willow, but I still think there's something fresh about there's still something fresh about that feud. And as we saw at the end of Dynamite, there may be something with her and Julia Hart.
Now, let me ask you about that, because as soon as I seen that, I said TBS Championship. Mm-hmm. This is what's happening. We know that Jade left a big shadow, big something to fill with the TBS Championship.
Big shoes to fill, let's say.
There we go.
Yeah.
And Chris did a great job, Chris Statlander. Julia Hart's cool. I'm a huge fan.
She has great presentation.
Her presentation. But do you see Tony kind of putting her in the TBS Championship lane, which then to me is kind of like you're limited to this, because we haven't really seen anybody take a jump from being TBS champion to going to that next tier of what the women's division would be. In addition to that, is Tony upset about what she said prior to going into AEW?
Okay, I'm going to answer the second part of your question. If I was Tony Khan, I would be upset by what she said in that interview, because you're not even in the company yet and you're already talking about, I guess, the competition or the other company. And in a way, she is saying the quiet part out loud. We all know Sasha Banks is eventually going to show up in WWE. Bayley's there, Naomi's there, like, all of her friends are there. We know she's going to go there eventually, but to talk about that ahead of your big debut going into AEW, I just think is unprofessional. I think it's disrespectful, and I just think it's really unnecessary. As far as the first part you were saying is about her being like boxed into like the whole like TBS title picture, I don't see that as much of as a negative. In a weird way, I see the TBS Championship almost on par with the AEW Women's Championship.
Really?
Yeah, at least depending on who's holding it and how it's being showcased.
Okay.
I never saw Jade as lesser than whoever the AEW Women's Champion was when she was champion.
100%.
Maybe a little bit now, you can say something like that's a little bit changed, like with like Julia Hart. But I like how there's never... The TBS champion is never looking at the AEW Women's Championship.
Because they have their own title.
Because they have their own title. And that always kind of holds up as something that they value. So I really do feel like she could kind of, like you said before, step into Jade's shoes. And I feel like if Mercedes were to take that TBS Championship, she could hold it up as her own title. And it wouldn't look like she's the secondary champion. It would look like she's just the alternative champion. Kind of like Seth Rollins to Roman Reigns.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
But what do you think?
Man, it's like that TBS title, like I said, you haven't seen anybody step up to that next division.
Yeah.
Or the next tier.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if that's the right direction for her right away. I think, you got some stuff there with Willow. That's the match she got injured in.
Yeah.
So I mean that's there, but I think your big money matches are with the Britt Bakers, with the Tony Storms, with the Sarayas, possibly.
There's a
You
big
know,
story with her and Saraya that they could explore if
huge.
they want to.
Huge. So I don't know. And then if I'm Tony, I might feel a way about what was said. Just because, like you said, you're not even here yet. You didn't step foot in the ring yet, or at that time she didn't. Yeah, I would feel a way if I was Tony. It's just like, you know.
It sounds crazy. It sounds like if you with somebody right now and just is like, you know, I'm gonna get back on my old bitch at some point. Like, who says something like that?
That's exactly what it is.
This sounds crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. But that wasn't the only thing on the card, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big, I guess, second marquee match would be Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. Now, for me, I think we have pulled the trigger on this Wardlow thing way too fast. Adam Cole's not even back yet.
Way too fast.
And now the Undisputed Kingdom, to me, is just a dud.
It's dead. They were always on, like, let's say a little bit of life support. They started off very cold. Their leader is in a wheelchair. He can't even walk. Their biggest rival isn't there. Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to come back at some point, probably in the summer, but they had to make a statement coming out, and they really struggled to do that. They kind of gathered some footing with Roderick Strong winning the championship, the international championship.
Was it the right call?
I think it was the right call. They had to do something. They needed a title. They needed to show some amount of dominance, so I'm glad they did
They had
that.
the ROH titles.
You don't watch Ring of Honor.
I don't watch that. I don't.
And I actually liked what they were going with this whole Wardlow going after the championship thing, to the point where I thought Wardlow actually could have won it. I thought that eventually they could have had Wardlow win it, and they could have had that little sign of dissension when Adam Cole is ready to compete and he wants to take that championship, because he's been saying it since the very beginning. The plan is for Wardlow to win the title, give it to Adam Cole, and Wardlow always kind of makes a little bit of a face.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, they pulled the trigger on I don't want to say a random AEW Dynamite, because big business. It's a big show, but 1 week out off 1 week build in the middle of the show, mind you, not even in the main event.
No, not the middle of the show. It was the first match.
Oh, it was the first match?
It was the first match.
It was the first match.
Mercedes comes out, hi, I'm happy to be home. I'm here in AEW. Woo! Samoa Joe and Wardlow's match.
And he loses clean, and is immediately, after his clean loss, is an afterthought because they immediately start building to Samoa Joe and Swerve. That's insane to me. What do you want to do with Wardlow? Because this is happening time and time again, and they constantly rebuild him over and over. What do you want to do with Wardlow?
I think Wardlow's done.
I think he's done.
To me, there's nothing that can be salvaged from this.
You can.
You had a lot of momentum after he squashed MJF, but even then, he was overshadowed because even that moment itself was overshadowed because there was talk that MJF got on the plane and left.
It's unfortunate. I'd call that the height of his career.
Right. He had the TNT title run for a little, right? Where he was stuck in what at that time was like TNT title hell.
In this weird limbo, bouncing the title back and forth with Joe.
There's that. It's just like Tony's track record with these big muscle, big guys. It's not good.
It's his biggest weakness. He has no idea how to book big guys, and I don't know why. It's the easiest thing in the world.
I don't get it. And he was on such a run that it just didn't. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and I hate it because I think he could have been better than that, and he legitimately could have been. There was a time where you could have looked at him and said, that's your next AEW World Champion. And now I do not see that.
I saw him as like the next Goldberg. I thought he could have legitimately been a breakout star for AEW. He had the people chanting Wardlow, Wardlow. He had the cool entrance when he'd come out, like handcuffed with the police. Like he had a good presentation when it came to his character, and I don't know why Tony Khan keeps doing the same thing with him. He keeps making the same mistake, and I really have no idea what the thinking is behind this.
I don't know, and I don't think he's going to get another shot because AEW has signed some very good free agents.
They have.
And, I mean, the last 3 weeks where you get Ospreay, the next week you get Okada, then you get Mercedes. Now, Mercedes obviously is not in the men's division, but since Will Ospreay became full-time All Elite, he's really must-see TV.
He's
Okada
immediately, I'd say, one of the top 3 biggest stars in the company.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Okada has now been on Dynamite 2 weeks in a row, wrestled his first match on Dynamite. He wrestled his first match on
Collision.
Rampage or Collision.
It was Collision.
Still didn't give me the watch, not gonna lie. But,
I do have a question about that. How do you feel about them immediately throwing Okada into the mix, like wrestling? Do you think they should have had like a build that like he has his first official match at like some kind of pay-per-view or something? Kind of similar to Ospreay. He had his first match like on Revolution. Do you think they should have built it out, or do you actually like appreciate that they just kind of threw him and now he's just on television weekly?
I mean, I'm happy to see Okada because all this time in Japan, he was like a special attraction, I guess, for us over here.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they do weekly television. So you see him once, maybe every 3 months or whatever. And the only time you would see him consistently is if he was in the tournament. Right?
Yeah.
So there's that. So I do appreciate seeing him on a week-to-week basis. However, automatically jumping to next week is Okada versus Eddie Kingston for the Continental Classic title.
I thought that was a lock-in for what's their name?
Dynasty?
Nope. Dynamite.
So I don't like that. I don't like that aspect because the Eddie Kingston character, I totally understand why this match is like an important match in his character arc and who he is. Because he loves Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
And for the last 10, maybe 12 years, the biggest star in Japan is Okada.
Yeah.
So yeah, biggest star in, Japan. So I understand the match, but I just feel like this has been rushed. He's been here for 3 weeks and he's already getting a title shot. Which maybe a star of his magnitude does deserve, but I just feel like it's so fast.
My biggest issue with it is that I don't think he should be losing. I think Okada should take these championships from Eddie Kingston like that. But I think it's something that needs a little bit more build. So that's my only issue with this happening so fast. Because I don't have a problem with them going to Dynasty and him like beating him. They're already obviously his first night in full time. He turned on Eddie Kingston. They've been building this up, but to do it on a Dynamite, I think that's a little endemic. There's a word for you. Endemic of a bigger problem existing in AEW is that it's kind of hard to make a show feel special when every Dynamite they kind of make it the big wrestling show. And I get wanting to make every Dynamite feel special, so it's kind of like, what's the term that it used to be? Like appointment television or whatever? Where people like, you have to be there or at home to watch it. But it kind of, I think, desensitizes the viewer to a certain point. You can put on a ring classic with Bryan Danielson or whatever to the point where nobody cares anymore. Every Dynamite just kind of feels the same. You can have a you can have a title match on there. You could do whatever else. You could bring in a big star. You can have Okada show up, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's just Dynamite. It doesn't feel big, and I don't know how you toe that line, because I can understand Tony Khan wanting to make every show feel special, but also doing too much on every show kind of cheapens it. So I don't know.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Before we leave AEW, and get to WWE real quick, I want to ask you, because I've been like wrestling with this, and no pun intended, but Adam Cole returns, right?
Okay.
We talked about how Wardlow, like, there's no salvaging. At the top, right now, it's really, Adam Cole doesn't fit into me. Adam Cole does not fit in that world title picture. I think Swerve has surpassed him.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lingering of Jay White wants to do something. If Darby Allin survives, he's automatically in that picture. I mean, when he returns, I look at I look at Adam Cole and where he is right now, and then you're gonna have the return of MJF. So you get all that, and I'm like, he's the odd man out. Where that title picture is so heavy at the top, and Will Ospreay's gonna be up there.
Yeah.
And just him as like everything, I just feel like, for unfortunately now, since his injury, does not hold up to where AEW is. I think AEW, the title picture, has surpassed him. Like, when MJF was holding the title, it was realistic.
Yeah.
Like, it was a specific era for me that it feels like Adam Cole, this is where Adam Cole would have succeeded.
Yeah.
I can't see Adam Cole at the top of AEW right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, when he returns, I cannot see him being the champion at the top.
I agree with you, and I think it's kind of, I don't want to say a good problem that they have, but I do think they have an easy solution. If they do want to pull the trigger on an Adam Cole championship match, not run, but match, they already have an easy out with the return of MJF, screwing Adam Cole out of that match.
Okay.
And then we can move on with the continuation of the MJF Adam Cole feud. So they never really have to commit to Adam Cole being world champion, which I agree with you. The AEW is very top heavy right now. They have a lot going on when it comes to their championship contention. Adam Cole doesn't really fit there right now, so they have an easy out for when Adam Cole does come back to keep him away from there without really cheapening him and saying like, oh, you're not worth being champion or you're losing clean.
Okay. All right, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think they can work with it still, but I agree with you. He shouldn't be champion right now, which is unfortunate because
at one point he should have been.
He seemed like a shoo-in, but
I just feel like AEW now is in another new era.
They've kind of moved on past him.
Yeah,
with Okada now, and Okada is probably gonna wrestle for him. But even if you want to say like Swerve and
even Hangman, like Hangman's back to like. Oh, I can see him being.
I could see him being
at the top of the card,
and like you said before, obviously chief among all of them, Will Ospreay. Right. I presume before the year's out, we're going to see Will Ospreay with the championship. It just seems like we're in a new era that Adam Cole doesn't fully fit into yet. I'm not going to say he's never going to fit into it again, but just right now is not the time.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah. But we're talking about recognition and people fitting in at the top. In WWE, the top is top tier. It's top tier.
It is top tier.
You got your Royal Rumble winners, right? Which leads me to, is Bayley getting enough recognition, man?
No. It's very criminal.
Is this story being criminally like undertold?
Significantly. As for a Royal Rumble winner, she is not getting anywhere near the promotion that she should. And I understand that, obviously, like you said, we are very top heavy with what we have going on. She was never going to main event night one. It sucks.
It's so hard to
it sucks because she really should have. On paper, they should have Royal Rumble winner number 1 main event one night and Royal Rumble number 2 main event the other night. And it sucks that she's not going to get that. But she could still be getting a big push because this is essentially like our modern version of the whole Batista angle when it came to bringing that evolution.
No, that's exactly what it is.
And we're not being treated like that's the case.
That's true.
And I don't really know what's the reason for that. Because it's not like Bayley isn't a big star.
She is.
If anything, something that just made me think about it, maybe it's because promos can't really be carried that much because I don't think Io Sky could speak much English. So I don't think as far as story progression goes, we have now Dakota Kai. Maybe she could carry some of
Well, she's the voice of Damage Control. So I can see it picking up.
Maybe.
But, like, I just feel like it's not being told the way I want it to be told.
Right now, it's been a little slow going.
Yeah. Which now brings me to another point, right? We're going to stay in this women's division because I think there's a really cool story going on Raw between Becky, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that ends up being a fatal 4-way match?
I would prefer it.
Do you think that gives Rhea like an easy out in the sense of retaining her title? All these women get this moment, and then maybe SummerSlam we get Becky and Rhea 1-on-1.
I would prefer that because no matter what happens, no matter what match we get come WrestleMania, I would have Rhea Ripley retain.
Because Mommy's always on top.
Exactly. Because
Obviously.
Mommy's always on top.
Always.
So I definitely have her retain, no matter who she's facing, whether it's just Becky or we're gonna throw Nia in there or anybody else. And I like the idea of we revisiting this come SummerSlam to have the actual 1-on-1 match between her and Becky. I just feel like there's so much going on right now. That is even to some extent getting a better push than Bayley and Io Sky. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, just underrated, man.
But what say you? Would you rather they have that multi-woman match?
I just want Nia Jax to have like another WrestleMania moment, if you ask me. Because I love Nia Jax. Insert Nia Jax. Love her, so I want her to have a moment. But I think SummerSlam, we should really... I think there's more to tell with Becky and Rhea that you can continue to build up to. So, yeah. Also, in the women's, I want to stay in the women's division real quick in WWE. What are we going to do with Bianca, Naomi? More importantly, at this point, for me, is Jade Cargill going to have a match on the Mania card?
I think as for the former two, with Bianca and Naomi, I think they're building to a tag team match with Damage Control, the Kabuki Warriors, whatever you want to call them. I think that's where we're going to be going with them. And I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that. A little disappointed because it seems a little thrown together, but it's something for Bianca to do. It's a championship for her to compete for and probably win. So there's that, but I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing as far as they go.
I can see that too.
Yeah.
I can see that too.
Or, actually, I'm sorry to cut you off, but now with Dakota clear, there is 3 members of Damage Control available, so maybe they might need a third, and maybe we might see a storm coming.
3 strong black women.
Maybe we might see a storm coming in Philly.
That'd be hard. All right, so I know we're excited about a lot of things on this Mania card. One thing I've been looking forward to, I can tell you for the last year and a half, or more actually, is Gunther's matches. Right? Monday Night Raw, they had a gauntlet match. I love when WWE does gauntlet matches because they hit, especially the last few years, every single time. Whether it's with emotion where you have the New Day trying to fight for Kofi, right?
Even the first one, when Kofi started this whole Kofi Mania thing, loved that gauntlet.
Right? So you got that. When Seth went 60 minutes on Raw, right? This last one, the competitors in it, everything as a whole, great. Then you get to your last two with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable.
It had to be those two.
I know how much you wanted Chad Gable to win. And here's the thing. His shoulders were not down on the mat. Do you think that he's going to work his way into the match for another triple threat for the IC title?
If I had to be honest, no. I don't. I don't think that was intentional.
You think it happens just...
I think it just happened that way. I don't think it was intentional for his shoulders not touching the mat. I think that was a botch, and I think the story is supposed to be Sammy versus Gunther. Now, would I happily accept Chad being thrown into this match? Absolutely. I want to see Chad Gable finish his story, beat Gunther, make it up for him making his daughter cry. And we'll see on Monday if they bring this up at all. Because apparently after Raw, there was even an interview with Chad Gable where he said he has no interest in fighting for a rematch with Sami Zayn or trying to squeeze himself into this match in any way. He says he's going to take his defeat and take his loss. So if he's a man of his word like that, then...
I think you have a couple ways you can go with this. I think you can have Chad Gable kind of lose himself a little. And
do tell.
Kind of be obsessed with the fact that... Start to become obsessed with the fact that his shoulders weren't down. I think you have time to still tell that and get him in this match. Or you can have him go the noble route and just, I'm not going to do it. Sammy won. This is Sammy's moment. And we should all be excited for Sammy.
Although, and I feel bad. It's not Sammy's fault.
It's not.
It's not Sammy's fault.
I think there was just a really good story there with Chad Gable that everybody was behind.
Mm-hmm.
And just Sammy, this is... everybody I feel like goes through this. This is that one moment where it's like, we want you, but not right now.
Not right now.
This is not your time.
You're Mr. Right, just not Mr. Right now. It's unfortunate.
Truer words.
Because I like Sami Zayn, but...
God. Yeah, man. I don't know. So hopefully we get that. Before I leave Raw and SmackDown, the tag titles are going to be on the line at Mania.
Yes, they're defending against 5 other teams in a ladder match.
I believe it's 5. Can I tell you what I think is going to happen?
Do tell.
A team from SmackDown and a team from Raw are going to go up and grab those titles, take them off at the same time, and this is going to be your title split.
I like it, man.
I think that's how we're going to get the titles finally split. Thank God there's enough tag teams that Triple H has done a really good job at building these tag team divisions.
Now, with that said, without any teams named for this match, do you have any predictions on who might win? Or do you want to hold off on that?
I want to hold off because there's a match next week that both teams should really be in. This ladder match. And it's DIY versus the Creed brothers. And both those teams need to be in there. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
Stay tuned for that. One more thing before I leave Raw. Candice LeRae said a lot of stuff to Maxine.
She let a lot of crazy shit.
She let the clip go off. How do you feel about them taking this social media moment and flipping it into a storyline to use?
I like it.
I like it too.
I like it a lot. I think in the end, this is going to get Maxine Dupree over. And even if it doesn't, I appreciate the attempt. I like that they're doing something with this. And I think it adds something to Candice LeRae's character. Because for a while, she's just kind of just been there. She's kind of just been floating around. It gives her something to really like tap into. So I'm interested to see where this goes. It was... I don't know if the whole dead brother thing was the most necessary. Because, let's be real, her brother's not dead. He's just going by a different name on SmackDown. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was so disrespectful.
I think her real brother's dead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Just like Jack Perry's dad. And just like Daniel Garcia's dad. Because Christian Cage.
And just like Darby Allin's dad.
And just like And like Nick Wayne's dad. No, I'm sorry. I don't like to joke about the dad. But to be honest,
I'm so sorry to Maxine Dupree's real life brother that passed away.
And all those wrestlers' fathers who also have really passed away. Moment. Okay. So, with that being said, I do like this direction for Candice LeRae. I know you want to laugh. I do like this direction for Candice LeRae. It does give her something. And also, she's a veteran in the ring. So I think even if you have this match between her and
Maxine?
Yes. She's the right person to get in the ring with to do it. Because I feel like Candice LeRae can really do it all. And, I mean, we're almost at the end of this podcast. But I want to ask you something.
Okay.
Can you tell me why NXT is the best 2 hours of wrestling on TV every week?
Yes, absolutely. Because of all the black people on NXT. I don't know what's so funny. We have the North American champion, Obafemi. Ooh! I'm so glad you knew to do that. And you know what we have now on NXT? We have Black Love.
I love Black Love, man.
We love Black Love.
Oh, my God.
Shawn Michaels.
Oh, God.
Booker of the Year.
Booker of the Year. For the culture. I'll tell you one thing. Like, no funny shit. He's really doing really right by, like, black people.
Oh, most definitely.
Like, Carmelo's character, like, this hater who's, like, also, like he's cool. He's from the culture. Trick is, like, being able to be himself.
Trick Williams is, like, the most over guy in NXT right now.
NXT. We got Lexus King, a fucking Peruvian barber. Like, come on, dog, culture.
You got a Dominican King in Lexus King? Lexus Dominican King?
Look at that. You got a fake Dominican and Braun Breaker. You know? I'm just saying, NXT literally is the best 2 hours on television when it comes to wrestling.
Absolutely.
It gives me storyline. It gives me fun matches. It gives me high spots. It gives me everything I want from a wrestling show.
Absolutely.
Like, legitimately.
I loved what they did with Ilya Dragunov and the D'Angelo family. We got drama. We had an episode of Sopranos going on in NXT.
I also like the Don character, bro. It's so good. It's such a strong character.
You know what I want to see? I want to see him interact with the Bloodline. It could be something like stupid small. I kind of just want to see Roman Reigns like cross paths with Tony and just say something like
we talking money right now.
Like, I like the way you run your family, and just
we're talking
something like that. Just something small like that.
I could respect how you're running your family.
I just want something small like that.
Dog. We're talking cash shit right now.
That's big money.
That's big money.
That's
big business. That's big business right there. If there's ever a time for big business, it's that. It is that. But yeah, man, NXT's great. And we will be at Stand and Deliver April 6th.
Yes.
Live in Philly.
We gotta get tickets.
No, we got tickets.
You got tickets?
We got tickets a while ago.
Why don't I remember that? Yeah,
bro, we're at Stand and Deliver. Like, we're excited. I'm excited to see Trick and Carmelo. But, yeah, man. Philly's coming up.
Philly.
Fast.
It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be there. We're gonna see you there.
We will. Yeah. And
yeah.
while you're there, damn, this is the first year? That was the first year.
Oh, you didn't see that that's what I was doing when we were talking about Maxine's dead brother?
No, I know that you're talking about Max.
Yeah, I kept saying yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear the yeah.
Yeah, I kept saying yeah.
Yeah. Alright, well, listen, this has been a podcast.
Yeah.
A fun podcast.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. This is one podcast.
What?
We're going to do another one.
What?
And then we'll do another one.
Oh, hell yeah.
And just like you said at the beginning, you can follow us on TikTok.
What?
You can follow us on YouTube.
What?
You can follow us on Instagram.
What?
And a margarita. Hell yeah. Hey, my name's DJ.
My name is Stone Cold.
I'll have to say my real name too. Derick.
Yo, that's a pod. And like I like to end it, listen. To all the non-believers, all the tweet and deleters, you make me sick to my stomach, fans. Deuces, ooses. It's a fucking podcast.